It's football season.
It's just in.
And the Detroit Lions kick off their season on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers. It's game 1 of 17, Gator.
That's right.
And today, we predict what the season record will be. Gator, everybody can find hope. They can find hope in just about any situation. Because without hope, without belief, there is no chance. And quite frankly, I have very little hope, very little belief, and I think there's very little chance that this team will do much this year. But Gator, you and I have been known to craft a path to success. How can they get there? What can happen? How can this team exceed the expectation? How can this team be the team that gets talked about as the worst to first team? How can this team be the team that shocks the world? Because every year there's a team that shocks the world. Every single year. And this year will likely be no different. Can it be our team? Can it be our team that shocks the world?
Well,
You and I struggle to craft a path to success. You are more optimistic about this season than I am.
Maybe.
Today we get our predictions on paper. Today we lock them in. Today is the day that you make your predictions. On a 17-game schedule this time, 17 games, what will the Lions' record be? 248-539-9797. Gator, generally, we wait till the end of the show to give our predictions.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start the show with the predictions. I think this is going to be a Piston-like season in that I think the best we can hope for is a Piston-like season. What I mean by that is this is a team that I expect to lose quite a bit. But if it's the right people making plays by the end of the year, I will feel confident. The Pistons' winning percentage was 27.8. If you take that winning percentage and apply it to the Detroit Lions 17-game schedule, that gives you 4.726 wins. So
28 over 100 equals blank over 16. Is that what you say?
4.726. I will round up, and the Detroit Lions will go 5-12 this year. Now, we've done this for a long time. I am going to be fascinated to see what the people have the Lions at. I feel like 5-12 is optimistic, but I'm basically using the Piston formula to come up with it because it's not going to be a very good season. Barring, there's one thing that gives me hope. That Matt Patricia was the worst coach in the history of sports.
Sure.
That it was an extreme case of coaching malpractice, which I suppose is possible. Like there's a story on our website about Tracy Walker. We tweeted it out this morning about how he went from being one of the highest graded safeties in the NFL to they made him an in-the-box safety under Matt Patricia, and he was awful. And the new staff is returning to what he did earlier in his career, and he's like, yes, this is how I play football. This is where I belong. This could be an example. Like if we're looking for tangible examples of how the last staff screwed up this personnel, that might be an example. And we'll get into that story a little bit as the day goes on, but you can see it for yourself if you follow us on Twitter, @DunGator971. So get your picks in, 248-539-9797. Gator, I write them all down. We revisit them at the end of the year.
All right.
In fact, I think I still have on this same sheet of paper, the same pad of paper, last year's prediction somewhere. And, like, who did the best job? I got 2019 on this. DJ in Detroit, Paul in Rochester, Mike and Romeo, Jeff and Fern, or Fowlerville all did a very good job 2 years ago. Let me see if I can find last year's. Anyway, Gator, what do you have, Matt?
Prior to training camp, when we went through this exercise the first time,
Yeah.
I believe I said that they would go 7-8-2.
Mm-hmm.
As training camp has come and gone, we've had a chance to look at this team, chance to read more about this team, chance to see what kind of moves they made to improve themselves during the training camp, free agent wise. Left me a little disappointed. I'm moving off my 7-8-2 stance. That's right. Going to back it up. And now's the time you plant a flag. You know, that's right. Fred Flintstone on me. So the planting of the flag begins with the preseason prediction, not the pre-training camp prediction. I look at this schedule, and I think they can split the games against the Bears and the Vikings. And then it gets tough. Then you got to start hunting games. And you look at the bad teams on the schedule, and you know what? Those bad teams on the schedule are looking at their schedule and going, we got to hunt the bad teams on their schedule. So even though you may think automatic, Atlanta, Philadelphia, they got chances against those teams. They suck. Well, they're saying, we got chances against the Lions because they suck. It's hard to hunt down some games, but football is football. You'll win a game you're not supposed to. You lose games you're not supposed to. It's how it works. But I do believe in the coaching staff to be better than what we've seen before. I think in some areas they've improved the personnel. All that being said, 5-12.
I gotta ask, man. Nothing has changed that Brashard Perriman has been cut, and you can have your 5-12. It's your prediction, all right? That's what you. But I think it's better if you would just admit that I don't know. Maybe you listen to finally people like me that are really pessimistic and think this team has been bad from the very beginning. Because
I mean,
I'll just use, and you could retort, but this is what you've said all offseason. Jared Goff is underrated. He's not as bad as everyone says he is. Nobody played in the preseason. The offensive line never got to play together. Hawkinson didn't play. Swift didn't play. Goff didn't play. This defense will be better than last year. And not just because last year's defense was horrific, but this team will be substantially better than last year. The coaching staff, no one has loved this coaching staff more than you.
Right,
I mean,
true.
Deuce Staley, Campbell, Glenn, Pleasant,
Brunell,
everyone. Yeah, exactly. No one. And you 7-8-2, which I thought, of course, was quite optimistic. But those are all your reasons. You had your reasons for why. The only thing that has changed from that point to now is, and by the way, the receivers have chips on their shoulders. They're going to be playing for something, all this stuff, blah blah blah. They're not as bad as everyone says. But no, my point is, the only thing that's changed is Brashard Perriman.
That's not the only thing. Everything you said happens after I made that when we planted the flag, whatever the hell it was, when our pre-training camp predictions came out, when the schedule comes out or whatever, when we did that. That was then, right? So since then, there are things that I've questioned. We've brought it up. Like we play devil's advocate all the time when we look at things and they say, well, why aren't they playing? They look terrible. Well, they look terrible because we didn't see the offensive line out there altogether. We didn't see Hawkinson or Swift and all that, right? We can say things like that. That's why they may have looked terrible. Well, the other thing is those guys have been hurt and banged up. So you got to take that into consideration too. They're starting the season on Sunday, and now it looks like their left tackle may not be playing in the game.
But did you have them beating the Niners?
I had them being competitive with the Niners, but it's not just the Niners. It's the type of injuries they've had. I worry about a hamstring injury with a running back, don't you? Well, they can linger on or whatever he's got.
Growing, right?
Yeah, but hamstring, groin, they all linger. So there have been, and it's not just the chip on the shoulder for the wide receiver. Hey, he's gone. Brashard Perriman's gone.
Oh, I know.
And they replaced him with what? I don't know. I don't know what they replaced him, but I sure.
But he cost you 2 wins.
Hang on. What I expected them to do is make a bigger splash with the waiver wire or through free agency. I really expected them to go out and get somebody of more substance at wide receiver. They didn't. So I can drop one of those ties and turn it into a loss. I drop the other tie and turn that into a loss. So
you have 7 and 10.
Well, no, but then I'm looking at the other games on the schedule, and everybody thinks that they're better. It's just there's too much to overcome at this point. I agree with Doug that I think what we're going to see this year is a team that looks better on the field, but the wins and loss total is going to be tough to handle. And I hope that I'm pleasantly surprised. But yeah, when all is said and done, you start dissecting this thing through. And I said, I think they split with the Bears and the Vikings, and then you got to start hunting the wins. And where do they come from? I think Philadelphia is a bad
hasn't
team.
Changed.
I know. What are you dogging me for? You're holding me to some standard from 6 weeks ago before we even saw
I'm just
the
asking
team.
you for your reasoning. That's all I'm asking.
I said I've seen the team. I'm not impressed.
You're the one who said we haven't seen the team because none of the guys played. They didn't play in the preseason.
Why are you angry with me?
I'm not.
Why are you angry with me?
Why are you angry with me?
Because you're like calling me out because I'm changing my mind on a season prediction that hasn't started?
I haven't seen someone retreat this much since Orlovsky, guys.
Wow.
To go from 7 wins to 5 wins?
Seven wins is a big
you
difference.
Are pissed at me.
7 wins is a big difference. 7 wins is average. They're not average.
7 wins isn't average.
7, 8, and 2 is average.